Alright, today we're playing Touch Starved. I don't know what it's about, but we're gonna have a good time. I don't know how long this game is, but we're gonna have a good time. You know? Let me fix my little keyboard. There you go. And get a little book. There you go. Hopefully that's good enough. Let's play. New game. Also, shouldn't it be a little loud? My headphones went out. Alright, we're all good now. Disclaimers. Streamers and content creators should turn music on in order to... Oh. Okay. This is a demo. Test starts prologue and not the finished product. Okay, so we got a demo, so it won't be long. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Test Starve is intended for an older audience, alright. It contains mature content that involves but is not limited to horror, graphic violence, strong language, alcohol, drug references, injury, and dismemberment. Player discretion is advised. If you accept the content word, please click to respond or proceed. If Test Stars, your choices matter. The decision you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, even choices in red text, which contain exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once and choosing different options. You might even uncover a secret ending, and remember, there are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. Choose wisely, save often. Left click, progress text and dialogue. Mouse wheel up, rewind text and dialogue. Mouse wheel down, progress text dialogue. Spacebar, hide the UI process. Press again and bring it back. Okay. Sure, my name is Asar. Choose your pronouns. Okay. She, her. Wait. Options. Sound. There we go. Okay. Okay, they said no music. Okay. We don't want no copyright issues. The world began to unravel long before you were born. It began with fogfall, spectral mist bled from the seams where reality warred, then it split. And from that fog emerged monsters and human beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect, others were mindless beasts driven by little more than the desire to slaughter. Wow. As cities fell in unrest, humans united in their fear, while monsters thrived in chaos, and then there's you. You're not even sure if you're human, you were born, no, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory. Oh no. Oh. You were raised as an oracle in a remote temple. The priest claimed your touch, bestowed enlightenment, but visiting a mage revealed your curse for what it is. Following the mage's word, you fled in search of cenobium. You regularly experience unnatural promotions that rattle your body and soul. An intimate sixth sense that gives you a heightened awareness of hidden... I want to start this over and change the name because I don't want to be cursed. I don't know. Outcast criminals accepted you, nobody else would. Your partner in crime helped you steal enough money for a curse and betrayed you. They left you and only enough coin to travel. Yep, okay. Raising her as your apprentice, she seems to take pity on you. Okay, but you discover she's cultivating you as test subject. Okay. Okay, I think I would do the oracle because I already can see shit in real life. Be like, dang, this gonna happen, and it happens. Just say no because I want to change my name. Yeah, okay, see, I want to change my name because I want to put aside. I don't want to be like cursed for real. Like, you never know, like, what actually be happening and stuff. So we're just gonna name ourselves. Ah! Ah! She, her. Okay, they put me right through it. Skip. Unnamed. The fallen oracle is fine. Your name is you selected she, her pronouns. Your backstory is unnamed. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death, the ever-present stench of decay, and countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined a caravan bound across the wastes. Finding a group that would accept me was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair, but then I saw it. Aridia, the city of knowledge, one of the last bastions of humanity left in the world and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my... Yeah, okay, in there. I never want to say that. It sounds so bad. All that stands between me and this, and it's a final stretch of salt-soaked wastes, or so I think, until I see the first tendrils of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Is this fog fall? My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it. A whisper, a solid storm, more devastating than fire, dangerous in cities, but a dustiness beyond them. A thick blanket fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches at the stop. An eerie silence heavy at the mist falls over. The only warning we get is a struggled or scrinkled scream. Stay back, no! The cry dissolves into wet gurgle. Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. Wow, okay. Sound loud as heck with no then the wagon violently pitches to the side. I hit the ground hard and the air punched from the lungs. When I open my eyes, adrenaline leads open. All full clarity, the carnage around me. Okay, that was a loud sound, my god. A traitor I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud, their back reduced to long strings of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies litter the wasteland. What the heck? Oh, I tried to rise, but my ankle... Okay. Like, what is going on? I came here for a dating sim. This got 10 minutes before I changed my game. Only my eyes adjust to see the dark shape in front of me. Okay. A Solus stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. I freeze, but it swivels. Its head, a dozen bulging eyes twitch in their direction and blink at once. The Solus lets out. I'm about to leave. I'm about to leave, y'all. Because I can't even hear no music either. I may have to come back on this one and just hit a part 3 for the other one. We're going to call this a day for part this. Like, gosh dang. But right before it reaches me, the beast barrels past, vanishing into the mist. Distantly, a horse screams in the dark. I need to move now. Run for the city. You're too far. Head for the wagon? I take cover beside the wagon where the air is thick and greasy smoke. Fire eats through the gaping hole, splintering everywhere. Oil mixed with brackish water. Every person I see is dead, dying except for one. Oh, Mother, forgive our sins. Guide us onto our hearth. We are worthy, we are worthy. A traveler grovels by the flames. Their hands collapsed above their head. Fervent in prayer? I don't know. I glance upwards towards the glazy... Why do I think glizzy? I glance upwards towards the glizzy lights of Iridia. It's just visible where the fog runs thinnest. I don't pray, not anymore. But the sight of the city is all the reminder I need. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo all around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching for the opaque mist in the source. But the fog twists and stretches around. Suddenly, the caravan's driver bursts forth from the fog. My eyes meet too late. He slams into me, knocking me to the ground, and slips in the patch of the mud. The Solus falls on him as soon as he slows. It catches the driver by his throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. Okay, he comes apart like wet paper. Oh, spilling intestines. Oh, and viscera and streaming stride. Okay. Understood. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Oh my gosh. My hand catches on the jagged edge of a rib jutting out from the water. Bandages unfurl among the gouge torn deep into... Okay. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Okay. Can you stand? The praying traveler leans over me. We need to run. They reach for my hand and I realize too late that my bandages came undone. Ooh. No, don't touch me. The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch, and in that space of breath, ooh, no. The curse will take... Oh! Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. Oh no, honey bunny, this is why he look like that? He needs some milk. Why he look like that? Okay. Hee hee hee. Ha 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 ha. No, I've seen this face countless times before. This is my curse, madness. No, this is not my curse. Hold on. Screenshot and thumbnail because that's crazy. This is the curse, madness of their own making. Their grip on the hand tightens until pain radiates from the knuckles. Let me. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. Oh, dang! They told him to go. Wait, let me rewind that back. There you go. That's a nice thing where you can scroll wheel. Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth, flex my face. The edges of my vision darken as my, okay, yeah. Fight them off, you can't scream. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. Oh, it's over. Okay, the more I struggle, the tighter the grip grows. My pulse hammers in my ear, slowing with each sudden breath. Okay, this can't be happening. Oh no, and not because of the fog fall or the soulish, but because of the okay. Yep. Tears sting her eyes. No, not here, not like this. I'm gonna switch to her because like I just don't feel like saying curse. Like I just don't want to say that. It's just weird. The hands drop from her neck, leaving her wheezing from air. Her lungs burn with each ragged cough. Her vision clears and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from hers, lips still split in that Macrombe smile, even as blood seeps between their teeth. They give one last shuddering breath, then slump over, the claw hooked through their stomach. The soulless shoves the body aside, and glowing eyes studying its leathery skin thin as Drew grinning. There's a flash of claws, red spills across her vision. She thought there'd be pain, but she sinks into the murky water. All she can feel is the grit of the salt filling her mouth. With the icy embrace of shallow water, distantly she noticed an arm resting among an outcrop of reeds. Hers, neatly severed. Oh, wow. It should have... Wow, without them... Wow, okay. Is this the end of that, I guess? If it ending for... Okay, I guess this was ending 1? If this is death, it is not as bad as she feared. The cold is gone as this choking stench of bog water. She could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse, nobody howling at her in madness and terror, nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment, she takes a reflective breath. Air pours into her lungs, then out again in a ragged gasp. Ugh, I guess. Feeling comes flooding back, a warm cloth on her bare skin, a firm surface underneath her, a strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. Okay. She twists her head towards the voice. Tears flood her bleary vision as the bright glow of lamplight. Try not to move. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding. But more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through her mental fog. I have no idea who this is. And, oh wait, she has no idea who this is. And she's completely at their mercy. Stay away from me. Her words come out a little more than cranky whisper. She clamps her mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless she sounds. No, who the heck is this? Sit up. Sit up. She managed to push herself up with one elbow, but the head swims. And her surroundings give her an alarming lurch. A stubborn patient. She doesn't have the strength to dignify that with a response. Instead, she pulls the sheet up higher and wipes her eyes until the vision clears. Oh, okay, cool. The stranger towers over her prone form. Warm light reflects off his pristine medical coat. Okay, so we got a hottie, a baddie, I guess, who's a medical doctor. Okay. She instinctively shrink back, and that's when she notices that she is completely naked, except for her thin line. Oh, what kind of freaky ass doctors? She just went through so much trouble, terrible stuff, and you got her there with a thin sheet and she naked? This is some freaky ass shit. Naked, lying on a low cot with a pair of sharp golden eyes watching her every move. The man's gaze flickers to her exposed, unbandaged hands. The fuck was that? Whoa. What the fuck was that? I don't even know what to say. Hold on. That scared the shit out of me. I think there's a spider on my phone. Like, I'm literally brushing my clothes off. Hell no. Hell no. Why that scared the shit out of me though, for real? Oh my god. Okay, hopefully that wasn't really a spider, but I don't know. That scared the crap out of me. For real life. Oh my god. Oh my god, okay. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back for that. That was horrifying and very stressful for me. Okay. I plunged my hands under the sheet to hide them from sight. That was too late. He must have noticed what they look like. Okay. Stranged. Oh, wow. She braced herself for his inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker from the courteous smile, whatever. He just watches in placid silence as she struggles to make sense of any of her surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? Be calm. You are safe here. Whoever this is, he clearly has no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere. I would keep switching from she and her to I don't know. With anyone. Even the shrine of my childhood, that one sanctuary I ever knew, turned out to be a horrific lie. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. A sharp sigh rustles the paper in his hands. I see you are not dissuaded. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. With a soft creak, he stands from his chair, giving me a better view of my surroundings. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions lined with the counters and the neat rows. Okay, whatever. The air makes my nose twitch. A faint whiff of smoke and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he sets at the foot of the cot. He's easily a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look at him. Could you step out? I lift my head, looking defiantly into his golden eyes. Meeting his gaze sends a hot frisson down my spine. Something about him nags at me like a half-formed memory I can't place. Could you step out first? I'm not getting dressed with you standing there. To my surprise, the man's mouth quirks. I was not planning on watching. Good. Still smiling to himself, he disappears through a narrow door. I hear a soft click of the lock, turns behind him. I count to 3 in the sudden silence. When I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach out for the bundle of clothes. An itch on my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub it, but then, dang, freeze when my fingers meet a neat line of stitches. I know what I saw. The beast took. Okay, yeah. And yet, the arm shows no sign of injury apart from the black stitches poking through the skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least grasping for my last breath. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The second test tick by, and my arm remains resolutely healed. My surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for the replacement of clothes and begin stiffly pulling them on. They are thicker and warmer than mine were, with a black woolen coat or cloak to go with them, but there's one thing still missing, my bandages. The golden-eyed man didn't leave me with any, and even though I know he saw my hands. I slide off the bed and take a few unsteady steps toward one of the drawers. If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. I start opening drawers at one of them, and of course, the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? That's crazy. I roll around clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bumps against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. Okay, that doesn't make me feel better in the slightest, but he makes no move toward me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and melted skin disappear under a layer of clean white cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? I clenched my jaw. I knew it would only be a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it strangely roundabout. What? Why would I not just tell him? Why is this not a choice? You don't want him to know? He needs to know. You don't care about him? The last guy touched the hands and he got clapped. And you don't care? Glaring at him was not okay. I guess we could say nothing. There's no answer I could give without raising unwelcome suspicion, so I just shake my head and finish trying the bandages in silence. I can only help if you tell me what ails you. An involuntary snort of laughter escapes me. Where would I even begin? Would he even believe me if I told him? No, best to keep my curse to myself now. Damn it, I don't like saying that. I don't have a curse. No. Best she keeps her curse to herself now and learn more about him first. Who are you? You can call me Kuras. And where exactly am I? Iridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I could think of nowhere else in the group of travelers to go. Oh my gosh, I just want to get to the dating part. Iridia, so I made it to the city of knowledge. After all, I should feel relieved, but all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment, which you provided. Yes, he says it so simply as if I'm a small child. He's explaining basic addition to me. I frowned and flexed the fingers of my recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine, thoroughly attached to me. You're saying that you stitched my arm back on? Pardon? A soulless attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore her arm clean off. And when I woke up in here, she trails off bewildered. She never heard of any magic that could heal a mortal wound like that. What kind of person could do such a thing? The doctor, Kuros, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back in his chair, quiet for a long time. I do not know where you came from, but Iridia is the city of knowledge and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it is most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. I do not even know your name. You are new to Iridia, so I will overlook the specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. Do you understand? He looks pointedly at the freshly bandaged hands. Loath though I am to admit it, he has a point. I am also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep breath, steadying my breath this time. When I speak, it sounds a bit more like myself. My name is It is my pleasure to meet you. There's a little more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back in an instant. Why did you save me? Thank you for... It's like hit the thank you. I mean, yeah, we could thank him, or we can just be like, well, why did you save me? What was your reason? But thank you for saving my life. I chance a smile in return, even if he won't explain how he did the impossible. There's no doubt in my mind that I'd be, uh, if not for Kuros. Think nothing of it. I'm not sure if he's just being excessively courteous, but his words only raise more urgent questions. But I have to ask, why did you save me? You don't know me. The question seems to startle him. I could hardly leave you to die in the wastes. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. I've never met a doctor who's handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edges of the cloak. There are subtle but delicately embroidered pattern around the hem. I try not to think about what kind of price Kuros might ask for such a well-made clothes or whatever. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption. I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. I blink. What did he just say? Oh, he crushing. I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely or brave such as a such peerless journey of Iridia. This is hard, man. I don't know what to say. I could not help being curious about you. His voice dips into a soft murmur, and he abruptly looks away from me. I gotta take this more seriously. I gotta read it with the voices. You're pretty curious yourself. Am I? Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. I wiggle my intact fingers at him. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it would be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. I fall silent, unsure what to say to that. Nobody would hope a horror like her for free. There has to be some kind of catch or trick, right? A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation code and spares her from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you are not my only patient today. The knocking grows more insistent and Kuros lets out a tired sigh. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamor of the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave? Oh. Between the soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I had almost forgotten why I came to Iridia in the first place. I need directions to Cenobium. Cenobium? The look on his face is downright chilling. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. The Cenobium gates open for The Cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risk my life and other things for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived in Iridia's largest city, still standing. There has to be a cure for me there. But if not Cenobium, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Iridia? I shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wetwick and ask for Leander? Excuse me, the what? The Wetwick. He sounds deeply unamused. Follow the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds. They are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That is, it must go on, but Kuros points towards the clinic's back door. You will be safe as long as you do not draw attention to yourself. That's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet, right? If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Okay. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality in his voice. Resigned to my dismissal, I slip out the back door. Okay. I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied into the street. Ugh, something weighs heavily inside one of the cloak's pockets. My coin purse. Everything is still inside, every last coin that I scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was open. There were so few coins to begin with. They probably weren't worth stealing. I glanced back at the clinic's closed door. Kuros didn't take any payment. He didn't even ask for a future favor. But he also said that in Iridia's secrets are power, and does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly comforting. Still, no matter what he did, Kuros gave me a second chance and a lead on where I should or might find help. I better get going before he changed his mind. I squeeze out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside of Kuros' clinic stretches down the road already, too thin. Peddlers queue alongside weathered elders. If any place is in desperate need of a free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under the feet. Deep grooves worn between them and the cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet. Deep grooves worn between them by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Iridia was a river city, but didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated. Dilapidated? Okay. All crammed together in narrow streets. There's something else. A charge in the air, like the shift in pressure before a storm. It's subtle, little more than faint, persistent thrumming, but I can't seem to shake it. A child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me. My stomach gives a faint gargle. This morning's catch, fried up, hot and fresh. Not too many eyeballs today. That sounds disgusting, but I'm starving, so I duck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its 3 bulging eyes still visible through the thick layer of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you got? The vendor points at a metal basket of what looks like a long strip of savory fried dough. Fresh long lads, 3 copper apiece. Don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, tallying them gingerly. At this rate, I might not be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying ride of colored painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways. Musical voices call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto as above, so below circles the artwork. Oh no, that's demonic. That's demonic. Not a vibe at all, okay. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I followed this line of identical posters around a corner and nearly hit my head on a precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read, "The Wet Wick." Oh, there it is. The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. Bustling bars are not something I'm used to, but I steel myself with a deep breath before pushing forward. A cursory glance doesn't turn up anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show! 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 The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booths to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught swept along the owlish stench current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as I press the body grows heavier. Okay, how are you throwing your elbows, ma'am? You should be resting. You can't be throwing your elbows nowhere. You probably in pain. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it holding on tight to steady myself, but the crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Oh, okay, seriously, you dogs again? Scattered laughter and cheers arise from the audience. I drag my eyes upwards. Okay, a well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by a thick lapel of a trench coat. This really is the last time, alright? This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink or you'll miss it. He laughs, and a dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light of the flash of gold. In a flash of gold, it would seem I found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light, real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. Alright. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze focuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist, and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers, the audience bursts into clapping and cheers. A genuine magic show was the last thing I expected from a place called Bletwick. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet, oh my gosh, reading, out of the air and turns it in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now he could use some good luck. Eager onlookers scoop closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies, while others whistle and call Leander's name, but his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. Yeah, I'll take the flowers, why not? I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no way to, I'm only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me, and I find myself smiling back. Okay. Leander steps off the table, dropping among the excited crowd with an audible click. Alright, bloodhounds, get back to your drink. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at their command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded corner. I manage to squeeze beside him, and there's so little room from this broad shoulder presses against me. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery. Being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me and add anything my friend wants to the tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. I'll have what he's having. Water is good. Ooh, water is always good though. But we gotta be flirty, so I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbow on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. What is that? Oh, I see, on his eyes. His eyes wander over to me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here comes the questions. So what brings you to Wick? Kira sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls back into place. So it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. I raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. A quick sip confirms my worst suspicions. It's awful, somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. Oof. But any thoughts of complaining dies the moment I look up and see Leander taking a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to Synombium? Can never figure out how to say that. As soon as the word Synombium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist around in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the Synombium in here? Throw him out. This is Bloodhound territory. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the symbiome. Look, she knew that when she talked to the doctor, but sure. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking as though he wasn't noticed. He hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags my hand down his face. Okay, good. Not our hand. Not the girl's hand. Hey, keep it down, will you? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhound silently returns to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The Synobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mixed in enough drinks and well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, what even terse is, I don't remember, he pushes away from the bar counter. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet wick where layers of frayed bloodhound posters have been plastered on the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Kuros didn't send you here for help with Synovium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggests I find an alternative. Yet here you are asking me about them anyway. What do you need Synovium for? I don't want to tell him about the curse. The less people know about the capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold. Here. Kuros told you the truth. The Synovium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. But we're gonna just send. But the Sen's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The Sen has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in the world steeped in nightmares. And if any place hell answers, it would be the Sen. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think, but things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, but yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat, but I always say there's solution to every problem and alternative to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me in a brilliant smile. That's why Kuros pointed you to the bloodhounds. Let us help you, whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables. We can do all that free of charge. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practiced speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious, and if the Sen's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out. That is, if you'll tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for Sen, but he is a mage and a powerful one at that. If his demonstration earlier is any indication, if he's showing like fake flowers, is that really an indication of power? It's like fake flowers though, but okay. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. She says she's cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something astral or some recent? He looks her up and down, taking in her face, her eyes, and finally her hands. It's your hands, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's probably all black and shit for her. Like, it's just black and gold or something. I don't remember what the color palette her hands were, but they were, like, not normal. They're, like, different color and shit. I wait until I'm certain my voice will return steady before answering. She says her touch is dangerous, changes people, it hurts them. Before she could even finish, Leander begins taking his gloves off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Let's see it! He offers his hand, and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm. But she's already shrinking backwards. She can't. She doesn't care how confident Leander is. She can't bring herself to hurt him, to see his face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary one. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you come from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city, you'll see thousands of them, thrice as many curses. Do you really think Curos would send you here if he couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in Sen. Better even. If you can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I am asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hands to a confident smile. Then with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandage from my hand. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can't tie me up first. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. With each joint exposed, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's... Wait, can I... Okay, yeah. What? Okay, yeah. If he's bothered by the way my hands look, it doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Now we're in here now. We gotta do it now. I tap his palm once as quickly as possible. It's barely more than a brush, but that's all it ever takes. Well, look at his face, expecting to see the worst. Leander only grins. See? It can't be. This time, when I reach out to touch Leander's palm again, he catches my wrist before I can pull away. I told you, there's really nothing to worry about. Oh, look at him blushing. He trails off when my thumb brushes the soft skin of his inner wrist. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more, but not like this. My fingers long, deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail, the grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. Well, today you got it, girl. You got this. I never realized what I was missing until this very moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. Nah, keep doing it. My hand glides over Leander's wrist and up his forearm where smooth skin abruptly gives way to a raised scar on the edge of his sleeves. It matches the one that runs from his collar of his cheekbone. Could it be the same wound? I glance at Leander's face and his lips part as he considers words before speaking. Am I the first person you've been able to touch like this? My hand goes still on his arm. So far. I'll admit your touch does make it somewhat difficult to stay level-headed, but not due to your power. He takes my hand. His soft green eyes flick to mine before he turns it to inspect the gold fissures crisscrossing my knuckles. Look, we match. He points at a golden pin on his coat collar, and I give him a small smile. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My hand feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble so much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? My name is Ah. You were right to hide this from me, Ah. That thing of yours is unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I paused. Room and board was something I haven't considered yet. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. The wet wick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or a few cases fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did a lock grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides the key onto the counter. You know I always keep a corner room open for your escapades. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. Okay, Leander, getting the women's. Okay. Heck. Alright, and I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend. Sure, stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key onto me. But I hesitate. My comb voice barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat since you shared your secret. Food, drink, and a warm bed. Anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers, but you need a reprieve from what haunts you. Come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for the safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. The air clings soddy and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunlit streets look barren and bleak. I probably should save. That man probably is going to go insane. He probably holding that in. I don't know. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over a stale crust in the gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least there's a reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Karunas and Leander both made it clear that Cenobium can't be trusted, but I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Cenobium myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. Okay. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets, formless dark spread like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch, a muzzle splints open to reveal a long jagged teeth. A growl rumbles, so deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement of a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. Now I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone, except for a figure reclining in the shadow of a nearby shop. Okay. The monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for human, were it not for his tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle, or the dust-pink eyes with pupils that shapen like needles. When they follow me, our eyes meet, and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams to a shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even if I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beasts I've seen are the Wick's drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. Oh, the key! With a flourish of his hand. Wait a minute. He got a little thigh out. That's wild. He said, "Come over and see the magic of this outfit." With a flourish of his hands, my in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns out it's chain glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his fingers, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Who said that's my key? Where did you find it? Where did you find it? That's my key. How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you dropped it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bald-faced lie without a hint of irony. I can't figure out how he picked my pockets under my nose, but I'm certain he took my key and I need it back. I approach the man, carefully keep my arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. Oh, now he's got a glove on. The stranger's chain slowly clinks. With a tilt of his head, his ears flick. Keeping your distance? I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from the way over there? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. Yeah, the sounds of his clinking chains will probably throw him off to be stealing from anyone. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be expensive to most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spent traveling here. And then there's that shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains and only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy. I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. They're all free. The doctor's free. The magician's free. The cat's free. Just god dang. Oh, this is free. The man, she probably did get got in that river. I don't know, because everything's free. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang. And for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. Oh, okay. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Or you could just hand me over my key. Ask nicely, I might even let you tug my tail. Just throw it here. So some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run? He raises my key and tilts my head. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could claim my room, or claim your room for myself. Nah, not that I'd be caught dead slumping in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here, so tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe unless... Dagger's sharp eye flicked towards me. They gleam with amusement, okay? Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. But now my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. Why would we flirt back with him? I don't know. I mean, I'm not into cat guys, so, we're not, but this is a demo, so... I don't know, Doctor was cute, Leander was cute, cat guy is kind of mid. I don't know, he's kind of mid. It's the cat ears, I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong, but I feel like it's right that he's just kind of mid. But fuck it, we're gonna flare back. How'd you know that I spent all my money, starved, and nearly died in a swamp just so I can crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I have been told subtly not my strength. So your place or mine? Oh, shit. I'd invite you if I had my key. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languor gaze glides me from the key to his hand and back. Come, take my hand and we'll go together. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. Yeah, they do. Something tells me that this one's more dangerous. Then he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me. But I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack me or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. No matter what I said, he finds a way to twist my words into an innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though he's having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their ludus is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally, this dump was a little more than miserable, like smear when I first arrived. What is a smear? Okay. Hightown, Lowtown, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about Synovium? What about Sin? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. That absurdly large tower looming around the rest. It's like a little hard to miss. He must mean the spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Synoviums, the Sins are rated. Forget about it. I can show you things, those snuffy boars and their limp rooster tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh, have you some pressing matters in Sen? Lunch dates with librarians, tea time with the most esteemed and best. That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me, and the key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key, but as soon as my finger graces smooth brass, my hand springs shut. His hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey. Hey. He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them even as his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reek. Ooh, no. Not the eyes. He says you reek of death and the road. And that freaking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go. I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath twirls down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes upon me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. Veer? The stranger's ears flatten, and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her pressed uniform marks her as a cleric of the Sen. I leave you for all of 10 minutes, and you're making trouble again. Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, Veer, I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric with a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail wishes minutely. The woman purses The woman purses her lips at me. Okay, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Veer cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Dangers drawn to her like a moth to a flame, you'll always find her at a given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard it's so hard to read. Why am I struggling? The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 100 and 200 times. Word of advice: don't take free advice from a lazy fox lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Veer. Oh, please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Veer rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jiggling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar were posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. The woman proceeds a keyring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along on a merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for solace inside the city. Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite if tight smile before marching down the stairs. Vera lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Veer hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merely as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Leviathan knot? I don't know what that is called. That's the one where you take 3 fingers and actually don't tell me. Knowing you is disgusting. Veer's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize I'm still missing something. Wait! Reflectively, I shove my hands in my pocket and find it, the room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts from my relief. I don't know what Veer's game was or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the sin was fit to leash him, a fate I could share, if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward and past the lanterns, gently swaying in the breeze to the sin, faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need. Then I can put all this behind me. This time the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia to a colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing over uphill toward the distant tower. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. It's the sin of the luminous void. It stands at the highest height of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the Sen tower disappears into the clouds overhead. My stomach gives an uneasy lurch. Though far grander than the humble shrine of my youth, the Sen gives the same impression of being a gilded birdcage. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps, but when something moves in my peripheral vision, a shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine as if testing its strength. Oi, you there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spot it, and the gaunt-faced man in the crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps toward me. Another tourist, get out of there once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just leaves blowing gently in the cool breeze. Okay. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. Hello? A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt like a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off of her, not because of the way she smells a little too welly, the way her tossed braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or if I even should. Her gaze is uncomfortably fixed on me, heavy as lead. I will say nothing. After the experience I just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Luckily for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me. Before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What are you doing? Good. As the worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body, pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. What the heck? A shuddering breath escapes me. The frick? Whatever disease this woman had ate away at her from the inside out. How is she able to move or breathe? Impossible. She shouldn't be alive yet. The power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and defiantly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's the only short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the thin stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scarf peeks from the back of her, from under her collar. I stand there wordless until I manage to regain my breathing or bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. It could be the stupid decision of my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the sun's shut gates and then follow her down the stairs. Why would we do this? This should be a choice. I wouldn't follow her. I would not. She has a gaping hole. What part of me would follow her? We descended from the higher streets, leaving behind her, or their gilded decadence. As we crossed the river, the wet derelict. I'm getting tired. Districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I've met with an all-too-familiar sight. Why would you follow this woman? My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out in a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. I'd rather not. Are you kidding? It's not safe out there. You are as safe in the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Ice. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. Also, another man is coming. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool for something, or for someone with nothing to lose, would leave the city. Apparently, I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set out into the waste. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, I hope we go and meet again. My heart pounds with each step, and I take from civilization. It doesn't take me long to realize it's not the only heartbeat I hear. Like a nagging through the back of my mind, I can sense another pulse thrumming through the earth beneath my feet. I felt this presence before. When I first stepped out of Cursac's clinic, a living dread coursing underneath the city. Only this time I'm getting closer to it. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward. One step then another until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. Oh, she didn't tell her name, and she somehow knew her name. A building nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place, it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I am close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless, several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards the decorated building. I just don't get what was the point of this. What was the point of this? You were in a safe city, you almost got robbed, and instead of going into your hotel room and minding your own black business or whoever's business and eating your food, just sitting there, eat your food, you went outside with some random woman with a gaping hole in her body and thought, dang, this sounds like a good time. Flashes of last night chase me, the gushes of blood and screams of death, the smell of burning flesh and sour bite. I can't go through that again, I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs, crashing through towering double doors. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth, but the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that this is not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be Sea Spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes, seating pillows scattered the floor. A rusted kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Now we calling out. Hello, is anyone here? My voice echoes across the cavern without response. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here will tell me what to reach for. I reach for the bottommost. I reach for a note at the lowest end. It rains. They watch me through the mirrors. They won't stop staring. They know what they did. They won't have me. I'm safe now. I'm safe now. I'm safe now. Okay, so nup olaps. Some other word. So okay, I don't know. The writing deteriorates into unintelligible scrawl, whatever. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the Sea Spring. That stillness hides something deeper. Something's wrong. Something familiar is watching me. Hey. Is it Leander? I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. What? They chill. This. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Just give me 1 second here, because this is pissing me off for real. If it's not the overuse of all these different terms that don't need to be in there, it just be like so much, bro. Like, oh my gosh. Be like the mahogany. Do I need to know what's mahogany? I don't know. I'm a little salty because I'm thinking this story is going to be something else, but why would we even go here? Rule number 1 of a horror show, you don't go there. You stay home. But whatever. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly, all different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait, glowing crimson eyes. Excuse me. I try to back away, but my heels teeters over the Sea Spring. I'm concerned. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That voice again. At the sound of it, the souls freeze. Their smiles quieting. Okay, who's that saying that? Oh, another guy. I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. Oh, okay. You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaving me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. Can't focus. The soulless growls ring in her ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises as she struggles to track them. Hey! Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? Fuck you! I look right in his unnerving eyes, hold his gaze defiantly. Fuck you, is that better? A crooked grin cracks against his face. We'll work with it. I scan the souls again. They really aren't attacking, posturing more than anything else. Almost as if they're waiting for commands. Did you tame them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing, and that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. Whatever. I called out earlier to see if anyone was here. Were we supposed to play outside? Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Why am I struggling so hard today? Didn't hear you. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. I need help. Okay, fine, I need help. I thought the sea spring could cure me somehow. The voice wavers pathetically. Honestly, has never been her strong suit. He cants his head to the side, appraising me, but doesn't respond. I fidget nervously. I'm telling you, I came here for help. Are you listening? Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Why is she coming off so limp? Hold on. Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are on one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body froze in place. I stand there for a long time and gazing a minute. My hands are trembling. When I finally raise them, I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh. Oh no. She's going through this phase. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by a lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clicks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I've forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. I'm hovering over or above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. I told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his eyes, the souls around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. Okay, just trying to see the little hand postures here. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl, The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one? Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I dragged my hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're ice, aren't you? Depends who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ice picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. But I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. You said you came here for help. Depends. Can the sea spring cure a curse? Probably. Then you mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow, the sea spring can cure anything, nothing stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink? I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. Is there a price? Always. Ice taps his temple with his finger. You lose it a little bit. Oh, that's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless, one big happy family in your head. Oh no. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. My attendants used to tell me that my power granted people access to a higher plane of understanding, a group mind of my own making, all lies. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Ice strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Come on, bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me. My eyes dart back to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances in the quiet surface. I take Eyes' advice and clamp my mouth shut. Eyes approaches me. Eyes approaches a nearby solace, a lanky dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly. When Eyes squats besides it, and he runs his finger through the tendrils, scratches his chin, and pats his head. The gentle smile plays across Eyes' lips. The affection is so much. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Eyes' lips, it trots over to the entrance, obediently tail swaying. I watch the soulless wearily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone eyes like mine, they'll point you the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I'll give a small nod, and at least I know I have another option for a cure, disturbing as it may be. I follow the soulless at the measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. But I'm about to cross the threshold. I sneak one glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Okay. Outside, more crimson eyes soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in dogs or bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the Solus looks over its shoulders at me to make sure I'm still following. Okay. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. I can't sense that massive heartbeat anymore. Maybe it's just was all in my head. The Solus sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. Wave at the Solus. I'm too nervous to do anything but give it a wave. It seems to do the trick. Petting the Solus is a bad idea. The Solus spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tame Solus being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Yes, you should. You should have went home. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city labyrinth, even the daytime, has become worn of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city was abandoned. I wake. Obviously, all these lights in there, you somehow abandoned. Anyway, I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wick. The steps slow when I hear a rustling in the air or something. In the dark, I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something is wrong. The fine hairs on my back and my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only one sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screeching to a halt. My head spins and the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The Solus that attacked the cavern is crouched over a dark, indistinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spills from the pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones. For mercy, the Solus is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches out of my feet. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Solus raises his head, blood dripping from his tendrils, every single one of its bludgeoning eyes fixing unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It came back for me. Yeah, run. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkness of the streets behind me. A piercing bass splits the silence. A heavy footsteps pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but it can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed swipe out. She ducks, saved by pure reflex, and skid around the corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops to my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, a dead end. When I turn around, the Solus looms in the entry of the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining up the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Scream for help. Somebody help me! My voice rings through the shadows. Street silhouettes pass through the windows, but nobody answers. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help flesh and blood, and never mind a stranger. The Solus, provoked by my shouting, gives a rasping hiss. It's only warning I get before it lunges at me with flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestone betrays me. Fall sprawling over the rough stone. As the Solus looms over me, I scrabble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends over me for the kill. but the impact never comes. Oh, okay. I really creak one eye open and the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Moonlight slivers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood and the soulless. My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form. Behind them, the soulless many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well, I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part on the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. Something about them is strange, unlike any human or monster I've never met. I can't quite place my finger on why. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me. I start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay here. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the soulless gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize I saw their hooded silhouette at the ascent. Oh, you are at the Sen. You saved me. You're shorter than I thought. You were at the Sen. I've seen you before. You were at the Sen earlier, weren't you? They cast a weary look at me. So what if I was? Their harsh response takes me back. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they saved me and now they scold me. Lesson learned, I could do without the lecture though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the soulless corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to feel the silence. Min. Suddenly Min tenses their blade flashes as they drive into the back of the soulless's neck. The soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lung. Ugh. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. I swallow, my eyes still glued to the cooling corpse. Why is the soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization draws. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. The Sen's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown, not anymore. Let me guess you're not a fan of the Sen? I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows and they see their knife motioning to me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's too dangerous, then why are you helping me? You are making an unbearable racket. Next time you walk into Soulless Claws, at least die quietly. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? You've already helped me once tonight. Why not a second time? That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Ah? I turn, surprised by the voice. Kuros walked down the street towards us, his white and gold clothing in pristine, despite the grim of the city. Hello, Min. I see the soulless was your work. Min shrugs. There's familiarity to the way they regard each other. You know them? I don't know. You have friends. You know them, Kuros? You know, Min is a freelancer who has done a few errands for me. They're quite reliable. Unreliable freelancers don't eat. I needs to get back to wherever she's staying before she wanders into the jaws of another soulless. It's late. Were you able to find a place to stay? I'm staying at the Wetwick. Both their faces fall, I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about the alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district? That gaudy cesspit? Come this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Kuros leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Kuros is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is the answer enough. I catch Kuros hiding a slight smile. I suppose I sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to Wetwick. The route Kuros takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in this morning. In no time at all, he cuts through darkened streets, twisting alleys. It seems like half the city was poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault with my ears with every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wetwick, its doors hanging wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Fine, he owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. Soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hour since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Kuros stands out easily as a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Kuros glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Kuros as he had clipped pace, whatever that means. Leander is right there where I left him. Although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never going to guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shots of the evening in rapid succession. Eyes leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents magically congealed stays firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you wasted already. Veer, perched on the bar's counter beside Eyes, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. Whatever we have here, a bucket full of boogers, Leander's nose treasure. You've eaten worse. Verse's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Eyes offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff, and Eyes just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Eyes throws back his head and downs the shot, drinking that. A dark look across Eyes' face. It's Chewy. Chewy, wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Kuros and Min, the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Kuros sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min eyes dark from Kuros' hand to his face and soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward. Sorry, this is a lot. Oh my gosh. This is just a lot. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by sudden revelation. All the people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Eyes. Another drinking competition, I presume. Good evening. What? Okay, yeah. Oh, is this evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Kira acknowledges Leander and eyes with a slight nod, ignoring Veer entirely, not that Veer seems to mind. He tilts his head and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Kira's. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Min pushes back their hood. They level Veer with a cool look. I thought Eyes wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Veer's tail gives an angry twitch. At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides between Ice and Kira's. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes up on a drink. His arm around Kira's shoulders. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Kira? I'm afraid not. We are merely escorting Ah back to her lodgings. Kira gestures in my direction and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly stepped into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Ah, it's been so long, everyone. This is Ah. She's new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fixed onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. Hi again. Hi everyone again. Again? Wait, you have already met everyone? Eyes and Veer level me with subtly amused expressions. Veer's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect she's stalking me. Okay. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from the restless thoughts. Well, color me surprised. You make friends fast. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances. A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man said that? Here last week? I can hear Min's lip curl in the distance from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues unperturbed. Let's toast to Ah's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Kyrus politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces in the din of the bar. We all turn in the directions of the noise. Veer looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from the bottle so old it's labeled, has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Veer pauses in the middle of the licking of champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern of Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, I cants his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. No, my treat. I regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint of his crimson eyes looked downright dangerous. What'll it be, water's fine. I guess I gotta take the drink. I'll take that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Eyes, he only shrugs. Like I said, they were chewy, probably poison too. He considers his own drink a tumbler of amber-colored whiskey. Leander tries to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always a gamble. Beard clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks away, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Where are you? I wouldn't let Leander put anything in my mouth. Where are you? Where are you? That's like, how do you even, like the words they say? He fans his fingers over his chest, voice dripping with fake reverence. The Wet Wick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all Iridia. While you're here, you may as well partake of the signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with splendidly speckled jerky that I can only assume is nut leather. What is the food in this city? An abysmal, as abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed. It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's enjoyable. Ice takes a measured sip of his drink. Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander turns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me, uneven chunks of ice bob in the pool of reddish-purple alcohol. I sniff the drink suspiciously. To my relief, this time it smells a sharp, clean scent of gin with an undercut of fermented fruit. Relax, it's just a local specialty, a plum gin. Although if you're feeling more adventurous, I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent. All right, everyone, let's toast. May Oz stay in Iridia be full of the brightest adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Leander, Eyes, and Ver raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Cruz watches with polite indifference. I tip my drink back, the plum gin in my eye-watering strong. Despite a sharp medical edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edge of my vision. The next fades the din of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one? I'm guessing you met Karas first. It would be more accurate to say I found her. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit that I was confused when I woke, missing all my clothes. Hey, yo, why you say that? Oh, shit. Leander makes a choke noise somewhere behind a Min's sighs. It's not what you think. Was in grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Kuro's disappointment. And I catch Veer snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Kuros isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with a practiced ease, without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You want to talk considering you neglected to warn her to stay off the streets at night. Oh, I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick towards Eyes, and their lips twist. I is too busy nodding along to Veer's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice. Okay? Lost no doubt in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole, let's go. Min and Kuras shares a brief look, then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there is something that I must discuss with Leander if you would excuse us. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence, or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft and low it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? This guy. I turned to find Crimson and Pink Eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, they're now telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander always snuck off to get his knob slobbered. What? What? Real life? Don't tell me Leander already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with Cross and then 2-on-1 business? Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if the champagne or the company, but Veer has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand. His ear twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come join us. He passed the empty bar stool beside his eyes, but I hesitate. The smile Veer wears is sweet and distinctively sly, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ice will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me and you threatened me. Me, steal? Surely you must be mistaken. Are you sure it was me? Yes, it was you, and then you had the gall to kick me out just so you can go drinking. He gives me another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Veer suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests, his elbows on his knees. Okay. I sets his hand on Veer's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh and begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Veer, hunter extraordinaire. Veer's right hand flutters on his chest and he bows his head, flinching when his hair falls into his eyes. I doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. It's Veer considers me for a long time, his tail idly swaying behind him, then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. I smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. Just want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp cat-like eyes kept me on edge, something about this tension is fun. It must be the gin. A flash of white over I's shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Cross heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Veer hums and wags his fingers at me as I leave. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Kira's, gah! I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. My words spill out on their own. You watch it. I regret them as soon as they left my mouth. That fucking gin. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling into the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps in my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down at me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion encircle him, sizing him up for what it feels like an agonizingly long moment. The roughneck looks from the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my neck. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me. He comes face to face with Eyes. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blur. Eye fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gas, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as a frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, Ice, take it outside. Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. With those 4 words, the wicked roasted hoots and hollers. The ring around me disappears or disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch a glimpse of familiar faces. Ive vanishes out of the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Curious lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up tight as they slip outside door, while Veer leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated on the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I presume may be the last person I get to speak of tonight, I follow. Oh, what? Okay, save 3. There you go. Whoever I presume may be the last person I get to speak to tonight, I follow. We can do the ice guy with the demon horns. We can do Kira, the doctor. We can do Min, the hunter. Veer, the cat. And Leander, the barkeeper mage. We're gonna do Kira. Kira sounds fun. Hot on Kira's heels, I squeeze my way out of the bar. Of everyone I've met, he seems the most likely to help me and the least likely to murder me on a whim. Earlier this morning, he said I could go to the clinic for help whenever I needed it. Time to see if this promise is actually worth anything. I breathe a sigh of relief. Once I'm freed of the crowded bar, Kira's hearing me turns away. Ah, you seem upset. I take it Amaryllis district is not your liking? If nothing else, it's widely different from the secluded temple where I spend most of my days. That's not why I stepped out. You're not in need of treatment after all, are you? I scowl up at him. He holds out his hands in a mollifying gesture. I apologize. Please continue. About time. Someone cuts right across toward Kura, stopping us both in the middle of the street. Even the dim pink haze that seems to be a blanket everything. There's no mistaking the pressed white uniform and sniffy starched hat. Another sin cleric. I hastily step back, making myself inconspicuous as possible. Can I help you? Nervous onlookers hastily part around Curas and the cleric. The two form an island of white in the sea, teeming color. Enough, you know why I'm here. Then I find this edifying. Curas reaches into his coat and produces 3 tiny glass vials bound together with a thick leather cord. A slippery powder shivers inside. He gently flicks the glass, watching the contents swirled, and extends the vials to the cleric. This is it? They look extremely unimpressed. Appearances can be deceiving. He throws me a glance with a swift smile. I'm too surprised to respond. What is he saying? His stuff big? What is he saying with that? Why he saying that? Why he looking this way? Is he evil? Is that what he means? Is he evil? They're not. Oh, okay, whatever. Kuros was the first to warn me about the sin. Nobody I met had anything good to say about them. Yet here he is, openly dealing with them in Amaryllis district. I glance between Kuros and the cleric, who seems to notice me for the very first time. Good night. They bow to Kuros, offer me an extremely perfunctory nod, and disappear into the seething crowd. Something amiss? Isn't that dangerous? What was that about? Yeah, what was that about? Lower your voice. It is a little consequence. That's all you have to say after the earful you gave me about Sen. Ellipsary. Shh, be calm. He holds one finger to his lips, which suddenly curl into a cat-like smile. For now, please join me in a short stroll. Kira's golden eyes twinkle in the low light. He beckons me away from the main thoroughfare, down a side street filled with vendors hawking late-night snacks. What? Wait. Now powerfully, curious and in spite of himself, I hurry across after Kuras. Each of his long, graceful strides is easily 2 of mine. I catch a glimpse of his gleaming white coat disappearing around the corner of the street. The moment I catch up, the delicious sense of freshly baked goods flood my nose. My stomach gives a loud rumble. Oh, 1 honey pistachio cookie, please. Coming right up. Without breaking his swift pace, Kira plucks the sticky confection out of the merchant's hand and offers it to me. The heavenly smell makes my stomach rumble once more. I take a bite without hesitation. Kira watches me with an indulgent smile. I notice he hasn't gotten anything for himself. You're not hungry? You need to not concern yourself with me. He stops in his sentence, his eyes darting back from the way we came. The hairs stick up on the back of my neck. turn just enough to peek over my shoulder, hoping I don't look too suspicious. Sure enough, it's the same cleric who waylaid us in the street, now wearing a thunderously angry expression. Uh-oh. Well, disappointment can be a learning experience. Glimmers of realization dawn over me. I stare up at him. What exactly was in those vials? Perhaps a rare and potent alchemical catalyst? Or some stale fish skin? The two do resemble one another, and it can be hard to tell them apart. Is he serious? I chance another glance at the cleric, who's now trying to elbow their way between the food stall. A few people make their way, but most don't even notice their efforts. The street is far too crowded with angry patrons. Shall we? Without even waiting for a response from me, he glides swiftly into the crowd once more. You're messing with them? Such impolite behavior. I am astounded you would even suggest it. Curious. I must still look incredulous because his smile softens a little. He lifts his hand as if to pat my shoulder, then stops himself. As I said, you have nothing to fear. He ducks into what looks like an abandoned doorway, but opens into a small covered market. The stall here are full of more spices than I knew existed. Even taking a short breath makes me sneeze. Kira slows his pace, occasionally pausing to examine the insistent hawkers' wares. Wait. He looks up from a display of livid red leaves, each as long as my forearm. You said I have nothing to fear, but everyone in Iridia seems wary of sin. People fear the obvious trappings of power, wealth, force, and hideously ostentatious tower. Ostentatious? You get it. For my part, I find such trappings merely disappointing. The Cinnabon once had great potential. They squandered it decades ago in pursuit of trinkets, pleasure, and petty tyranny. Their narrow prosaic interests have rendered them blind to all else that moves. I think that's the most I've ever heard Kira said on any topic. You sound like you know them well. Kira lets out a long sigh. You miss little. Familiarity brings contempt, and I am more familiar with the Sen's crude methods than I would like. Now I'm getting somewhere, something beyond vague warnings or swift deflections. I decide to press the point while I have the chance. Familiar how? Kira stops right in front of the display of pickled fruits, and I nearly run into his back. He steps aside at the last moment. His arm rests gently but firmly on my waist. Oh. I tense, but he's careful to avoid my bandaged arms. Our pursuer refuses to take no for an answer. Them again? I thought we lost him in the crowd. I crane my neck to look for the cleric, but Cross shakes his head. This way. The next street over seems to be home to the high-end brothels. Brothels is full of steep stairways and shadowy passages, perfect for discreet trysts, or losing a persistent tail. Pink curtains and painted facades sprawl around me like a giant colorful warren. It only takes a few more twists and turns down blind alleys and narrow walkways before I completely turn around. Curious, however, seems to be following some map in his own mind. He takes each turn with a swift confidence, guiding me with the occasional nudge. The gap between teetering buildings can hardly be called alleyways. So narrow we have to pass through the single file. Okay, just a little further. The effortless grace which he moves is almost infuriating. It takes every ounce of concentration I have just to avoid tripping over loose tiles, discarded clothes, and unidentifiable rubbish. Meanwhile, his long legs almost seem to float over every obstacle. His clothes are still completely pristine, despite the soot-stained walls on either side. How the hell does he do it? I'm still trying to puzzle it out when I realize how warm it is, with me practically tripping over his heels. The tiny gap between it seems to radiate heat, like beating midday sun on the longest day of summer. Okay, sure. Stay close. I definitely don't want to get lost here. I stay as close to Kuros as I can without actually touching him. I promise I will not lose you. Was I that obvious? Our eyes meet, and despite my best efforts, I find it hard to hold his gaze. Those golden eyes send hot pins and needles racing along my spine. It's not unpleasant, but I've never felt anything like this before. Thank you for indulging me. Ah, I believe we've lost our tail. It's much quieter on the edges of Amaryllis District, and on the deals the shadows look shadier. Did you enjoy your impromptu tour? Relief escapes me in a tired laugh after the day I've had playing keep away from a Sen's cleric seems almost normal. I wasn't in mortal peril, so that's a nice change of pace. He laughs too, a soft and pleasant chuckle, completely at odds with his usual cool demeanor. Are you sure we've lost that cleric? If there's one thing you can count on, it's the elitism? Elitism? Okay, it's the elitism of the Sin's finest. They were not these. They were not dying. Dying? They were not dying to follow us this far. He sounds confident enough. I was starting to wonder if we'd have to make a full circuit of the city to I don't even of the city to ditch them. A beam of moonlight cuts through the clouds, casting his face into sharp relief. However, I should escort you back to your lodgings. It would be unwise to let me do that alone. Whatever. What about you? Are you staying at the Wetwick? Of course not. Then you're going back to your clinic alone? You just said that was a bad idea. He pauses. Then his expression relaxes into a gentle smile. Fear not, Ah. Only the most desperate or foolish would dare lay a hand on me. It sounds insane after 2 near-death soulless encounters, but part of me believes him. The few people who are still out huddled beneath the street lamps and in doorways, is desperate to be as close to safety as possible. Kuros, on the other hand, looks more relaxed than I've ever seen him. He's strolling down the middle of the street, bold as if it was daylight. Even walking alongside it makes me feel more secure, warmer, both inside and out. Ayo. Ayo. I hang on to that faint spark of hope and screw up my own screw up my courage. Why screw up? It's just the way these words are written. Like it's throwing me. Did you mean it this morning when you said I could come back to you for help? Every word. All his earlier mirth vanishes, replaced by calm focus. I don't know what to say to that. I almost expected his offer to be courtesy, an easy way to get me out of the door. The fact that he meant it. Why do you ask? I believe I already made my intention to help you quite clear. His eyes flicked briefly to my arm, the one that he miraculously reattached. I almost imagined him counting the neat stitches. I just wanted to make certain I'm still figuring out who's trustworthy and who's trouble. I see Iridia does tend to attract some extreme individuals, including you. I decline to incriminate myself in your eyes. I can recognize a smooth deflection when I hear one, though. If he won't talk more about himself, maybe he'll talk more about someone else. I decide to ask about... Sure, Leander, I guess. Why don't you send me to Leander for help? If you know Iridia better than Leander, the company he keeps can be questionable, but I had confidence in him. Yet his bloodhounds seem rough around the edges. Leander has always preferred the company of those like him. Survivors of low towns, harsh realities, you must have noticed how they flock to him. I nod. He seemed to know every single person in Wetlock. And that's a good thing? Leander's closest peers trust him with their lives. I would say that counts for something. Sure, we'll go with Ice. Have you ever been out to see Ice at the Sea Spring? Once. Only one seems like sea spring or spring of miraculous powers would interest the doctor. A long silence follows, so long that I'm not sure Kuros heard me. I'm about to repeat myself when he finally speaks in a near whisper. Ice is the rare newcomer who has proven himself immediately worthy of respect. The sea spring is another matter. Hidden depths often contain unwelcome secrets. You could say that about anything around here. A fair point. Nonetheless, I have seen many pure-pointed wonders, and the sea spring is unlike any other. Only time will tell what that means. Sure. How do you know Veer? Curious visibly stiffens, and I remember the venom in Veer's voice when he grabbed me. That effing doctor. It looks like the feeling's very much mutual. Regrettably, Veer is one of the worst patients. How did you cross his path? He stole my room key. You are fortunate that he did nothing else. He is far deadlier than he seems. There is a reason he is not at liberty, a reason for a collar and chain. He seemed pretty dodgy to me already. I hesitate, waiting for Kuros to elaborate, but he seems to find even the thought of Vera distasteful. Min, you and Min sound like you know each other well. Kira leaves a long-suffering sigh. I know them better than most, and less than I would like. Like you, Min is a recent arrival. Their time here has been partially difficult, as much as I would like to help. He trails off, but I know exactly what he's talking about. Min doesn't seem like the sort of person who would accept help easily. Do they always pick fights that are twice their size? I have implored them not to. They rarely listen. With my curiosity sated for now, I fall silent. I wish Kuros had given me just a little more to go on, but he seems almost tight-lipped about the others. He is about himself. Okay. By the time we're back to the Westwick, the Amaryllis district seems even noisier than more raucous than before. I don't know. Drunken patrons overflow into the streets, which reek of split wine or spilt wine. How am I supposed to sleep with all this racket? I suggest the stiffest drink at the bar, alternatively a ball of wax. Very funny. Even with how tired I am, I'm not sure I'll get a wink of sleep. I'm about to say good night to Kuros when someone staggers out of the wet wick right into me. I stumble back, heels teetering on the edge of the filthy gutter. Ah? The next thing I know, a pair of warm arms catch me around the waist. I find myself staring up at Kuros pressed against his chest. What? His grip loosens, but he doesn't quite let me go. Something shifts in his gaze, his eyes fix on my face. I feel myself growing hot all over at his intense scrutiny. What does he see in me? What is he looking for? Kuros. Yes. You can let go. Are you quite sure someone else may stumble into you? This time I can feel the heat of his laughter, the way it flutters through his chest and mine. I'm actually not sure. My head swims. Kuros' warmth and closeness washing over me. I shouldn't be this close. If I touch him by accident, if I somehow curse this man who saved my life. Good night, Ah. He finally steps away and I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Good night, thanks for everything today. You are most welcome. He turns and slips into the crowd, though I pick out his pristine white coat with ease. A chilly gust howls down the street. When did it get so cold out? Oh, I can save? I can. Sure. So I can choose the doctor, or I can choose the homie. We're going to choose the doctor for now, and we're going to swing back for this guy, because we can actually touch him, and so I guess it's probably the happier ending, but he could be hiding the madness, who knows. Oh, what? From all appearances, Kuros is a principal doctor of extraordinary skill, but you know little about the man beneath the professional mask, and Kuros keeps even his friends at a cool distance. If you uncover his deepest secrets, will you like what you find? Okay. Leander offers you something that should be impossible, a taste of normalcy, free of your... As the first person to withstand your touch, he could change your life, but some things are simply too good to be true. Leander promises to help unravel, but at what cost? Sure, we'll go with the doctor for now. Oh, what? That was it? That was it? Okay. And if I choose this guy instead, they're gonna be like, thanks for playing, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go back to the bar and choose the other guy. I'm gonna choose right here. Leander. For the second time today, I found myself squeezing through the crowd to reach Leander. As soon as he sees me, his easy smile fades. Are you alright? I'm not used to someone looking at me with such earnest concern. I've been through worse today. From the sounds of it, you've had quite a day. How are you holding up? Could be better. Not bad, considering I've been threatened, robbed, come close to dying too many times to count. I should have known not to let you out of my sight. How about the next time you want to see the city I come along, I could be your personal guide. You already helped me more than enough. Leander signals for the bartender. I'm parched. Do you want anything? I'm good. Just water, please. Make that too. Once he's ordered, Leander turns back to me. Did you at least get to try any food? I've had these fried dough sticks from the vendor near here. As soon as I began describing my meal, his eyes brightened with recognition. The long lads of the wind stall? You got to try them with porridge. There's another stall about a block away with rosewater rice flour cakes. Take one bite and you'll think you've had transport to some high-town patisserie, whatever that means. Then bam, you open your eyes and it's the same trash-lined streets as always. When he laughs, his hair falls over his eyes. He shakes his head and pushes it back. I'll show you sometime, if you decide to stick around Lowtown, that is. Iridia Leander describes is far different from the one I've experienced, but if you live anywhere long enough, I suppose it becomes home. It seems like I'll be here for a while. Maybe I'll take you up on that. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses and pushes them our way. Cheers. Leander clicks his glass against mine. The ice-cold water goes down easy. It was surprising finding out that you all know each other. I don't think Iridia would be so small. Do you know how many times I've tried getting them all in one place? It's impossible, like trying to herd a bunch of soulless. I take you know them well? Depends. Was there anyone you're curious about in particular? Sure, curious. Do you know Curious? Do you and Curious work together? Occasionally. Did the mysterious, competent doctor catch your eyes? He seems like a good person, though it's hard to believe anyone's a good person these days. Thus Curious, he works hard to serve the people of Lowtown. He's a miracle worker, even if his bedside manner could use some work. Do you think he might be able to cure the curse? Leander starts to speak. He pauses to consider me a moment first. Cures is good, but he's only a doctor. Besides, unless you're actively dying, he'll make you wait in line all day like everyone else. No one. That about covers it. Aren't you tired of standing? Let's find you somewhere to sit. Leander pushes away from the bar, beckoning me to follow him. He leads me to a small booth hidden in a nook of the bar. A pair of bloodhounds notice him, immediately leap to their feet, offering their seats to us. As I slide into the booth, a web of graffiti scratched into the booth's tabletop catches my eye. The deepest grooves form the outline of the dog from the Leander posters. Dozens of roughly etched names surround the drawings, some fresh, some well-worn. What is all this? It's a tradition. Whenever someone joins the Bloodhounds, they have to drink with us, and they carve in their initials. The barkeeper must love that. After the first year, she finally stopped charging me extra for damages. 2 years and countless drinks later, she added her own name. You're not planning on recruiting me, are you? He quickly shakes his head. Not yet. You need time to think about your own path. Do you know what you're going to try next? The question gives me pause to take my hands out of from under my cloak and rest them on the table. Do you think you can help me? Of course, we can find answers together. Leander starts to reach for me, as though meaning to take my hand before stopping himself. Leander starts to reach for me as though meaning to take my hand before stopping himself. His eyes flicker to mine. I won't fail you. And if you ever need a taste of normalcy, I'll always be here for you. Okay. My chest tightens as a memory of touching him. Even now? Leander swallows. The table groans under his elbows as he leans forward. The booth is so narrow that he completely blocks my view of the bar counter. It's almost as though Leander and I are completely alone. If that's what you want, how did it make you feel? It was warm, exciting. I don't know how to describe it. Leander rests his right hand on the table. He looks at me smiling when I place my hand on his. Slowly he begins unwinding the bandages, stopping ever so often to glance at me. As my skin becomes visible, I cast a nervous glance around the bar, but as far as I can see, no one is paying us any attention. Leander squeezes my hand gently. No one will notice. He pulls back, raising his hand to his mouth so he can tug his glove off with his teeth. The muscles in his forearm tighten as he reflexes his fingers. Our eyes meet, and Leander offers his hand again. There you go, hand holding on demand. A lump forms in my throat. I'm certain Leander sees it in my face, the flicker of desperation. His voice lowers to a whisper. Anything you want, ah. Touch his face, touch his hand. Oh my gosh. I don't know. This feels like some about to go down, but why is it red? We'll save it. We'll save it. Touch his face or touch his hand? Is his hands not real or something? Can we touch his face? I blurt out a first request that comes to mind. Can I touch your face? Oh, sure. I lean over the table, hesitating before I reach out to his face. When my fingers grate his jaw, Leander laughs softly. That tickles. It's fine. You can just... He takes my wrist, angling my hand so he can press his cheek onto my palm. Warmth spreads around my fingertips. A surprised breath escapes me. Gently, I run my thumb down the ridge of his scar on his cheek, and he shudders, his earring jingling against my knuckles. You're getting awfully bold. I never touched anyone like this before. And even though it makes my head spin, it's already not enough. I want to be even closer. My heart hammers, filling my ears with a pulse that grows unbearably loud until I pull my hand back. Are you alright? I can barely hear his words over my pounding heart, but I manage to nod. Yeah, I'm fine, sorry. I think I'm just getting a little dizzy. He gives me a gentle smile, eyes crinkling at the edges. You've had a long day, you deserve some rest. Luckily, your room is just upstairs. Want me to walk you back? I shake my head and begin wrapping my hand back up. With each deep breath, my head feels more clear. I'm fine, but thanks for everything. Remember what I told you. If you ever need a break from the chaos of the city, I'll be here for you. When I rise, Leander gives me one last smile. Good night, Ah. Good night. I trudge up the stairs, but even as I leave Leander behind, the warmth of his skin still lingers on mine, burning through the bandages. Yep. So that means it's the end. Alright, that was okay game. It wasn't not okay, it was pretty fun, but it was so much going on and so much, a lot of character just getting to know. I didn't know it was a demo. I thought it was going to be full game, but that's okay. I do want to play an actual scary game because I thought this was going to be scary, and although it has horror elements, it wasn't what I was expecting, so maybe I'll play another game. Either tonight, tomorrow, or another day. Anyway, I'm ending the stream. Good